We gathered from across the globe to share our stories and discuss how, through actions in kitchens, classrooms and communities, chefs can contribute to the United Nations global goals.
Together we stand for ingredients grown with respect for the earth and its oceans, protection of biodiversity and improved animal welfare, investment in sustainable agriculture and farmer livelihoods, no food loss or waste, celebration of local seasonal food, a focus on plant-based ingredients, education on food safety, healthy diets and nutritious cooking, and nutritious food that is accessible and affordable for all.
We the chefs
are working together to create a better food future.
Hi everyone, welcome to my kitchen. My name is Mokhadi Itsweng. I'm a chef based in Johannesburg, South Africa. Today I'm going to show you a traditional dish that we eat here in Southern Africa called ding ya mabele. Mabele is sorghum. Sorghum is an ancient African grain, indigenous obviously to Africa. The reason why I'm doing ding is because it's one of those forgotten ingredients or forgotten foods that we all grew up eating and our grandmothers used to make in their kitchens, but now has kind of like disappeared from our dishes and has disappeared actually from our kitchens. So I'm bringing it back and feeding it into the cities because a lot of city dwellers have actually stopped eating these traditional foods and rather eat our fast foods and quick and easy meals. Ding is one of those dishes that takes a long time to cook, but it's also, you know, the traditional way of doing it, which is fermenting it, takes a while. So it takes 3-4 days of fermentation and then you can only eat it. I love ding because it's perfect for me. I love the sour of it. I eat it for breakfast and I also eat it savory. Strangely enough, when I lived in New York, I got into contact with Ethiopian food, and when I first tasted injera, I thought, this tastes very much like ding. Even the setting, the way it was eaten as a savory with spicy dishes. So I fell in love with injera purely because it reminded me of home and it tasted like ding. Again, ding is one of those indigenous grains, like I said, that have been forgotten. And it's one of those indigenous grains that are making a comeback in our cities and in Africa purely because it's drought resistant and it's good for the planet. So my recipe today basically brings back this dish. So it's ding in a savory form, but I'm gonna turn it into something that could be street food or could be eaten by even the younger generation who really aren't aware and aren't used to eating ding. So today what I'm going to show you is ingredients that have been forgotten. So for instance, this is moroho. It's Zimbabwean kale or chumulia. It's called chumulia in Zimbabwe, but it's hearty like kale. It tastes like kale. It's delicious, and it's eaten with meat stews, and it's eaten also with either sadza or pap or ding as an accompaniment. So what I've done is that instead of preparing this kale the original way or the easiest way, which is frying it in onion with oil and some spices, I've actually fermented it and pickled it, again making it easy to survive in the city. For people who don't grow their own vegetables, they can still have healthy, good, indigenous ingredients in their cupboards that can just sit in the cupboard without even being in the fridge. So I've fermented and pickled this kale or chumulia to make it easy and accessible to the city dweller. Another product that I absolutely love. So the thing that I get a lot is people saying, where do you get the sorghum grain? How do I access the sorghum grain? I love sorghum, I can make tabbouleh with it, but where do I access it? So I met up with this young lady She runs a business called Local Village Foods. So Local Village Foods, they basically are a link between rural farmers and the city. So they bring awesome ingredients, awesome African ingredients. So they've got sorghum, they've got teff grain, all nicely well packaged and available in the city. So I love their products because again, they bridge the gap between the rural areas and the city. Again, helping to feed the city with nutritional and wholesome grains and food that are traditionally have been eating in South Africa but are out of circulation in the cities. So today's dish, I'm going to show you how to make this ding. So initially, you want to ferment the ding. So you grind it, like I'm going to show you here. You've got some ding in the blender and you just grind it, and as you can see, it's not finely ground, as you can see. And what you then do is that you put it in a jar, like I've done here, add some warm water, and just leave it for 3-4 days to ferment. So this is my ding that's fermenting in warm water. It's going to take 2 or 3 days to ferment, depending on the weather. If it's hot outside, it takes a shorter time, but if it's cold, it takes longer. So here's my ding that I did earlier. I'm just going to leave it there to ferment. And this one, I'm actually going to use this to roll my little balls into. So first thing is obviously use my fermented ding and I cook it. The natural way or the normal traditional way to cook it is just boil it until it gets soft. Boil it like you would porridge until it gets soft. So what I've done is that I've boiled some earlier and I've just let it to left it to cool, and so I'll be able to make these ding balls that I'm making now. So my recipe is ding balls that are stuffed with the pickled morogo or pickled chumulia. So what you need to do then is, obviously this is dry, you want it to be cold. So you take your ding, I'm gonna get a little bit of water on my hands just so that it doesn't stick, and then you just take your ding and you just flatten it. So I'm gonna stuff it with the morogo. So the whole idea is the same way you would do arancini, it's the same way you do this recipe. And then we'll just take our morogo and just plunk it in the middle. So you can stuff your ding balls with anything. You can stuff them with meat, because traditionally ding is eaten with meat or with spicy dishes. I mean, this fermented or pickled kale is quite spicy. So very much the palate of the city, very much traditional, but also appeals to a city dweller. So this is a kind of dish that you could find at a market, at a food market, at a street food market. In Johannesburg, there's a lot of street food markets that are opening people up to all sorts of delicious ingredients and all sorts of delicious dishes. So this is something that you could have at a market. It works perfectly well in a market setting. Traditional, but in a market setting. So I'm just gonna, once I've rolled, like you see, I've done that. I've covered the pickle that's inside. I've just rolled it up. And then I just roll it inside the ground ding. The reason for doing that is you want it to have a crunch. You want it when you bite into it. So when you, first of all, when you put it in the oven, it's gonna harden outside because of this crunch. But when you bite into it, it's got this crunch and it's got the smooth ding inside, and then the spicy pickle in the middle. So it's just awesome, awesome flavors and awesome textures. Again, making it interesting and making it relevant in the city context. So I'll just make a couple of more balls. So you just flatten with the back of a spoon. It's literally very simple to do. So this originally or traditionally you would eat it like this. You would just take the ting and the pap and the meat, and that's it. So it's ting, the morojo, and the meat, and that's it. But this time we're playing around with the same flavors, the same ingredients, just presenting them in a different way that's very city accessible. So here we go, we're rolling another ball. Just make sure that you close the ball inside so you don't have the filling seeping out when you are cooking it. So here we go. Just make the ball, roll it in. And then we're just gonna make a whole lot, and then we're gonna bake them in the oven. Look, you could fry them, you could deep fry them if you like. City dwellers love deep fried anything. But I like to bake my food because I just don't like all that oil in the food. So I just like to keep it as traditional as possible. And remember that traditionally Africans, we don't eat deep fried anything. It's only later on in our lives, later on when we move from the rural areas to the city areas, that even our our eating habits changed. I mean, I love a good fried anything, but that's not a traditional way of eating it. So again, we're all about building communities. We're all about feeding people healthy food, and just trying to keep the authenticity of the ingredients and the dish. So I'm gonna bake mine, but you could deep fry them if you want. So as you can see, I'm struggling a bit with closing it, but it's closed now. And then I just roll it in. So you can do as many as you like. I'm just gonna I'll do one more. So I've got 4 balls. So the nice thing about the ding is because it's fermented, it's got that sour, so it's like a sour. When you pair it with a spicy anything, it works perfectly well. It's like really, really, really delicious. So I'm just gonna close it in. It really honestly reminds me of injera. It's got the same kind of flavor, the same kind of taste, and I think probably it's cooked the same way, because I know with injera they use teff, which is this this grain here that I've got also from local village foods. So it's the similar kind of grain, and I know that they grind the grain and then they ferment it over 7 days, same kind of way with warm water, the same way you would ferment ting. So for me, that just shows me that Africans, we are the same. We are the same people. Our food is the same. Our tastes are the same. So this would work in any context, you know. So here we go. And Joburg being a multicultural city with a lot of people from all over the world, all over Africa, this ting ball will really work for anyone here in the city. Okay, so I've got my balls, and then what I'm gonna do is, I don't want to put any oil or anything there. I'm just gonna pop them in the oven and grill them for the next 10 to 15 minutes until they're hardened outside. I think it's been 10 minutes, so let's check on them. Oh, perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. So while I was waiting for the sorghum, I made a simple salad of grated carrots, the chopped chumulia that we had here, this chumulia, morojo, chopped it, a little dressing made with ginger, lemon juice, olive oil, and some seasoning, salt, pepper. Perfect, easy. So just gonna put our salad on there. Here we go. Because we also want nutrient dense food in our lives, and I think the salad just adds like such a brightness and such an easy, it just says light, easy, eat me. It's beautiful. Put this on some of those carrots on top. Yeah, awesome. And then we'll just finish them off with just some herbs. Oh, before herbs, there's a little bit of chili sauce on there, just a little, not a lot. Because us Africans, we love our chili sauce. We love our spice. So just tear some herbs over there. It doesn't need to be anything fancy. A small fork in there. And there we go. Perfect for a street food market, perfect for just easy eating at home. Yeah, easy, light, perfect for the city dweller. There we go. So delicious. Wow.